Men, what are some deal breakers for a potential relationship, even if they're very attractive? Lack of respect for my boundaries. I learned this lesson the hard way once. I've got no intention of letting it happen again. Tests and indirect behavior. If you want something, tell me. I'm not playing a game just to see if I'm worth your attention. You don't treat the things I care about or respect seriously. It shows me you won't even put in the effort to act like you care. The idea of I don't have to bring anything to the table and you have to bring everything. If you're a deadbeat leech, I'm not interested in wasting my time on you. If they breathe their politics too loudly, I'm fully open to someone who doesn't perfectly align to my idea of a worldview, but if they're super loud about it, that looks incredibly clingy and tactless. I don't care if it's for something I agree with or not. There's more to life than mindless tribalism. What do you do about a partner that wants to do everything for you? My husband and I are truckers, co-drivers actually, and I have a hard time getting him to understand that it's in our best interest to teach me everything I need to know to be successful, and so that the burden of the work is not on him. Even at home he still does the stuff he thinks should be done by a man. That's not what I want. I'm quite capable and freely admit when I need help, but show me how to do it. Almost all of our disagreements are about this. The other thing that doesn't necessarily lead to an argument is when I say thank you for the things he does for me. He doesn't think I need to say thank you, but I disagree because I think it's how you show that you are grateful and don't want your partner to feel taken advantage of, or that I'm entitled to the good things he does for me. But yes, I definitely have my flaws and I see them in some of these deal breakers. I think I have some work to do on myself, and apologies to be made, but finding a way to communicate is definitely needed. I didn't realize how much this annoys me as well until I went to lunch with a bunch of hangry girls at a bachelorette party, whining about waiting to be seated when we didn't have a reservation, why no one came to serve us right away, so on and so forth. It drove me insane. That negative energy was picked up on by our poor waitress who dreaded having to serve us. I really cannot stand this behavior in anyone, man or woman or otherwise. Just be cool and understanding and everything will be okay. FFS. Had a girlfriend who stormed into my apartment and started packing her stuff and said she was leaving me. I had no argument, was kind of glad she was going, so I said okay, that's fine. She then freaked out and screamed, "You don't even care," threw a glass cup at me and then tried to throw herself off the balcony of my 10th floor apartment. I grabbed her, pulled her back over the railing. Once I got her back inside and locked the balcony door, she punched me, slapped me, ripped my shirt and said she hates me. Sometimes bitches really do be crazy. When I was preparing for prom, I randomly had to spend some time with this girl I've never met before and never met after. She was attractive, sounded like a right mix of intelligent and funny, but goddamn, the out of shit she talked about her partner that I was supposed to replace that day, and then the shit she dumped on a teacher who was supervising us, all in about an hour or so, speaking to a complete stranger. But to me she was all nice, even after I told her that I'm now afraid of turning my back to her because of all the shit she dumped on me. All I got was a smile. What the hell? To add on, if a partner is controlling of your relationships with friends and family, and generally won't let you exist as your own person, red flag is understating it. You should be able to at least occasionally do things without your partner. You should be able to have private spaces and private thoughts. You should be able to maintain existing relationships and create new ones. I dated someone once who was insistent as to how I slept, and didn't like it if I tried to get into a more comfortable position. Surprise, surprise, also came with the side of emotional abuse and manipulation. Talking about exes too much to the line of comparing you to. Big no-no for me. Edit. Thank you all for the awards, and I would like to clarify few things. Sure, sometimes it's completely okay to talk about your ex-partner. It is part of your life. But if you do it too soon or talk about it way too often, that does raise few red flags. And as I said, if they compare you to the ex, it can be okay if it's way down the road and you are already dating. But on first, on second date, That's mostly bad for several reasons. It's okay to have past and talk about it when the timing is right, but talking about your ex openly and too much, way too early is just a red flag for me. No test behavior. Be straightforward or I'll assume you're likely to instigate dumb shit drama. Honesty for honesty. Edit. I was honestly not expecting this to go the way it did. Just want to say thank you for the various awards, and I hope all is well in your lives, and your relationships of present and future. Honesty and trust. Without games played on either part are integral if something is going to last. If ever you have questions or concerns, raise them with your partner directly. It'll put the two of you in a much better place moving forward. Cheers all, and thank you again. I dated a girl in college that broke up with me, then got super mad at me and blew up my messages a few weeks later because it wasn't supposed to be a real breakup. It was a test to see if I cared enough to fight for her and try to win her back, and I broke her heart by not doing that when she broke up with me. Someone had been watching too many rom-coms and found out real quick the real world doesn't work that way. If you break up with someone, don't be surprised if they do the adult thing, leave you in the rear view, and move on with their lives. Edit. For context, we had only been dating for like 3 months and it totally came out of the blue. She did the whole "I just don't think this is working and the chemistry isn't there, we should move on" thing, which is fair enough. It wasn't serious and that was plenty closure for me. RIP her heart. How to next start a discussion about our relationship and the idea of ending it. My response was basically, okay, if that's what you think is best, then there's no reason to stay together and make things worse or harder. Then she was mad that I wasn't fighting for her, and I told her if she already had one foot out the door, it doesn't matter what I think of the relationship or of her. If she wants to leave me, begging her to stay will never fix the underlying issues. I don't care to deal with those tests either. I have a policy where I purposely blow up tests. Once I had a girlfriend's friend hit on me in a way that made me suspect my girlfriend was testing me. Complete lack of interest that suddenly changes into too much interest too quickly. I told her sure, but you have to talk to girlfriend and get a harem application form from her. Also, I once had a girl tell me something like, when a woman tells you that nothing is wrong, that there's really something wrong and she wants you to figure it out. That's a classic. I responded with yeah, but I'm happy to pretend that nothing is wrong. A valuable lesson was learned that day, but I'm not sure by whom. Met this girl in college. Nice personality, smoking hot body. Invited her over to my dorm for some Netflix and chill and quickly noticed she had a how to put it delicately a severe bow problem. I'm talking rank, and when she took her shoes off it was worse than some of the guys I used to play basketball with. Okay, not a deal breaker. Maybe she just had a long day and hadn't had a chance to take a shower. Happens to all of us. So we got together a few more times and if anything it got worse. So I tried dropping some subtle hints. She finally told me she was into something called natural hygiene and didn't bath more than once every couple weeks or ever use deodorant, soap or shampoo. Nope. My dick was screaming yes, but my nose vetoed it. I was out. I would expand on this to add sense of humor about themselves when something goes wrong. Like sometimes, stuff happens. But if you can't laugh at the situation, not the person, and roll with it, life can be really stiff and challenging. I think it's been said on here before, but some of the best relationships are where you are in bed being intimate and something goofy happens, like a dog licks your foot or whatever, and you both laugh and it's funny, cute. I think it's a big green flag when you can laugh together when something doesn't work out. That one Indian matchmaking show on Netflix has an infamous woman in it who was extremely career-oriented and one of those why bother being anything the number one person, FBC of her mom, who was also interviewed, and seemed just as insufferable. All I remember is her being asked about a sense of humor or something during one of her talking heads, and she pretty much said she doesn't get why guys try to be funny, or that she doesn't care about being funny or telling jokes, and having a sense of humor isn't important to her. It floored me. Like, how joyless has your life been? Question mark. Underrated comment here. Being bad with finances causes so many issues. It will cause severe relationship issues pretty soon. Don't need to be an accountant, but damn, at least understand that going into tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt is not normal, it's bad. Bonus points if she expects her man to cover her bills. It just screams carelessness, no accountability for actions, and probably a long life of being enabled. That person doesn't need a partner. They need a daddy. Yes, it's hard to find out about a past of cheating before it's too late, but I agree. My red flag I looked for in potential relationships regarding this was their social media presence, time between past relationships, and how they interacted with other guys. If I'm just one of many options before we start dating, then I'm likely out. Even if I'm the main guy, anyone who thinks in those terms will inevitably shift you to the option route very quickly if a new guy they like starts getting flirty. I know from experience, just gotta be careful. No accountability. In fact, having absolutely no sense of accountability for their actions. Believe me, it is more common than you think. Edit 1. So that's what it feels like when something blows up overnight. This is overwhelming. Thanks guys. Edit 2. The people who gave me the awards. Thank you guys. You're so kind. Edit 3. It feels so great so many of you relate to this. And it feels so sad so many of you relate to this frown. Edit 4. Some of the responses are so shockingly close to my experience that I feel we have lived the same lives. The explanations, the examples, etc. It's as though you are there watching me through a camera and are now just describing my experiences. I hope you all find true happiness in life. Thanks again. Smile. This here, last two women ended up cheating on me. Should have seen it after years of their behaviors. Why is this such a big deal to you? I didn't disrespect you. Just because you feel that way doesn't mean I was wrong. I'm not the bad guy. Why do you always try to make me feel bad about things? Usually this would happen after a really simple misunderstanding. The refusal to compromise, empathize, or humble oneself is a massive waving red flag. On that flag, you should see the words I've had people pick up my messes since I was a child. I will never say sorry and you will slowly feel more and more like garbage with me as a partner. Edit, cause I'm reading a lot of stories from people who went through similar stuff. Forget about closure. Closure is a fantasy that is driven by people who had happy, successful relationships with people who know how to be an adult. Do not seek closure, in general, but especially from an ex. You will not get the closure you're looking for, likely just pain and lost emotional progress. I dated a girl for about 3 years and she only once admitted she was wrong about something, and something trivial at that. And even then she fumed for a few hours and then took it back and said she wasn't wrong. When the dishes weren't done it was my fault because I was the one that usually did them. When she didn't go to her classes it was because I wasn't providing enough encouragement. This was over a decade ago and thankfully I'm better at seeing red flags now. In all fairness, I've seen this in men as well. This kind of thing isn't exclusive to a gender. I was interested in a girl recently. I liked her a lot and she was really hot and great in bed as well, but something about the stories she told me about herself seemed off and honestly that was a red flag I was ignoring. Well, turns out most of what she told me about her life was a lie, even the small stuff that wouldn't make any sense to lie about. I think she may be a compulsive liar. We weren't exclusive or anything, we were just going out so far, so there was nothing to really break up. So I just stopped contacting her. Edit, I guess the conclusion is that if the girl don't seem to be truthful, that's a deal breaker. I once dated a girl whom I thought was a compulsive liar because her stories were so outrageous and so unbelievable, like that she grew up on like 6 different continents during her life, how her neighbors killed her dog and ate it, how she saw a dead cow so inflated with decomposing gas it exploded. She was deathly allergic to horses. She performed with Dizzy Gillespie and Sting. I tried to peaceably move away from the romance, but she remained within the circle of friends. It turned out everything she said was true and I was insecure. Same. Sorry, brother. Hope you're doing much better now. I didn't realize it at the time, or even for a long while after, but if you ever feel the need or desire to talk about it, as a man who has experienced similar, I would like to extend this open invitation to do so whenever, if ever you want. Getting that shit out made a huge difference in my ability to recover from it, and you will feel no adverse judgments from me if you decide one way or another. I'm just an ear to hear and a heart to help it make sense, maybe. I understand we're all upset here. I know I'm a man. I realize this is somewhat normalized for couples, but unless there is a damn good reason, do not yell at me. If you're upset, calm down. Come back later if you need to, and we can talk it out. This still applies if there's a legitimate reason to be angry or frustrated with me. I won't gloss over your expression of force, and I won't take any fallout because you're frustrated with something else. Expressing emotions, being vocal, even raising your voice and such are valid expressions of emotions, but I don't yell at me because I just won't take the abuse. I will literally walk away until you've calmed down, and walk for good if you keep it up. Now I had a girl ask me out back in high school. I started dating her for a couple weeks and I had to ask her after like 3 days what made her approach me. Most people didn't approach me back then unless there was a reason, so I was curious. She told me she took an interest in me because I looked like I'd kill somebody. I've been told I look like a serial killer my entire life, but this was the first time anyone approached me because of that lol. I was highly skeptical before she even said that, but that just made me be doubly so. But I dated her for another week, turned down her attempt to seduce me and immediately rejected the idea of having a child with her. We were in high school and you're asking me to get you pregnant. Hell no. At the end of the second week of our relationship, I found out she was actively dating this other guy and I confronted her about it and broke up with her on the spot because she said she wanted us both. Now, didn't dawn on me until I graduated that she possibly wanted me to fight or kill the other guy because she thought I'd kill someone. For me, that's if they're pretty but stupid. If they have a habit of backstabbing or hating on others just to boost their ego. And the absolute attraction killer for me is if a woman has zero independence and clings to her parents/partner/whoever else for everything. Oh, and there's also one woman I might be in a relationship with now if it wasn't for the fact that she's a single mom with 4 teenage daughters, and that's just fucking terrifying and way beyond my ability to handle. Edit. Thank you for the silver, kind stranger. I remember back when I was single I had to deal with some of my friends trying to set me up, some more than others. This one woman that I worked with went on at length about how she had a friend and we would be perfect for each other and could she please introduce us. I generally avoided that, but I finally said sure. But no guarantees. This was back when MySpace was a thing. She sends me this girl's MySpace information and this girl reaches out to me. I start looking at her profile and it was wall-to-wall Jesus and how Jesus makes all her decisions and how she is married to Jesus, and I just noped out of that whole situation. When my friend has asked me if I was interested, I straight up told her that I am sure her friend is super nice, but she is way too religious for me. Someone who is not religious at all. I am cool with someone believing in God and will even have debates and conversations around it, but I don't see how it would ever work between someone like me, who is at best agnostic, and that girl who clearly places a very large importance on religion. I am sure she is super nice and super sweet, and she was attractive with big tits, so there was that. But I didn't see any point in pursuing a relationship when we were both very far apart on a pretty fundamental part of our personalities. I would totally be open to being introduced to her at some no-date thing and I would have no problem getting to know her, but I just had zero interest based on all that. On the flip side, I would not be surprised if my personality and some other things would have made her say no because of similar concerns on her side. It makes it really hard to like the girl if they don't understand that I can't be available 24/7. My last text told me that I didn't pay enough attention to her. I work 2 jobs with 12-hour work days, and I still did everything I could to make sure I was with her. When a girl don't understand that there are other things in life to do besides be out with each other day and night, I just can't.